What is up, Cabbage crew? It is your two favorite cabbages, Matt and John, here to talk more Avatar. Breaking news. I'm not talking about the breaking news of season 2 and season 3 of the Netflix adaptation, but breaking news. We now have an Instagram.
Please follow.
Yeah, please follow us, guys. I had to pull up our. I don't remember where our Instagram was. The Cabbage Crew 4. So very similar to our YouTube handle, I guess. But yeah, the Cabbage Crew 4. There'll be a link somewhere on this page. But definitely check us out. We'll be putting some fun stuff on there, putting some additional content maybe on there. We just need OnlyFans. We'll be good to go.
Oh my god! This is a PG friendly YouTube.
Yeah, PG friendly. When you guys want some real stuff, go to our OnlyFans and everything everything underneath is what you'll see.
Oh my god!
Oh my god! All right. Well, so today we are going to be talking about what Avatar: The Last Airbender world has in store in the next couple of years, as they're expanding their what you could say a cinematic universe. And then we're going to talk about some things that we want to see, because there's some unannounced shows coming up. So unannounced as in titles. We know that they're coming up, but we don't know the titles. We don't know what they're going to be about yet. So yeah, we'll be talking about that as well. Do you have another story for us, John, before we start? Has anyone done anything to egg your house, anything like that?
No new story, but there is a little bit of breaking news. I mean, we might share with the whole.
Yeah. So it is my boy John's birthday. I don't even know how old you are, but it's your birthday. Happy birthday!
Actually, not what I was talking about.
Oh. Well, this is my post. I'll do something to post. Yay! Like some balloons or something. But it's John's birthday here at the Cabbage Corporation.
You think my birthday is funny?
That's another thing we need to talk about. When are these characters' birthdays?
Yeah.
We never talk about it.
Nope.
There'll be a nice little video of seeing when their birthdays are. What's the news? I thought it was gonna be like. I thought you were like.
Oh, I was talking about like what. I forget the actor name, but the actor name is Satra being the Steel City Con in April.
Yes, and then we're gonna try to go to that. Mm-hmm.
And the actress of Suki will also apparently be there.
Oh, I'm definitely going then. She's gonna be there. The funny thing is like, obviously they're not gonna be like watching the podcast, but like, what if we ever went there and they were like, yeah,
I can go.
We saw you hated it, and we're like,
well, here's the thing. We actually.
I'll go.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Hold on. The funny thing is, those are probably the only two actors from the show that we actually liked.
Yeah, they're like, we need to get some of these kids to Comic-Cons. Not all of you, just a couple of you.
Just the two that were loved by fans.
Yeah, no, they did a good job.
Yeah.
Now maybe I'll fly out instead of driving all the way.
It's up to you. It's
I'd rather
3.5 hour drive.
It's a 4-hour drive. I would jump on a plane for 45 minutes, an hour.
Southwest.
I have to go through all that process, but like, if you're willing to pick me up, I'd rather do that.
Right.
Like, it'd probably take me 3 hours to do the whole thing anyway, getting on an airplane and everything, but I'd rather do that.
Fair enough.
That being said, another shout out. I'm driving up towards you this upcoming week, because my friend Kian is getting married. So I'm driving up to Erie to see the wedding. Yes. One of the groups.
Be there for the ceremony, and congratulations, Kian, who I don't think you're listening, but congratulations.
He doesn't even know about this podcast. I'll tell you that right now. Congratulations.
Wait a minute. If he doesn't know about the podcast and he's about to get married, his wife doesn't know about the podcast. That's 2 more subscribers.
Yeah, I'll jump. I'll get him on. I don't think his wife has a YouTube channel. But
That being said, please subscribe down below. A part of our Cabbage crew.
Yes. If you're watching this and you made it 5 minutes and 10 seconds into this video, please subscribe. So now let's begin the actual podcast itself.
Yes.
So yeah, let's talk about really quick some of the things they have planned. Right now, I think they have a couple shows and movies planned. They have the next Avatar after Korra planned, which I really hope they retcon the idea that Korra can't talk to her past lives from that horrible season 2 plot of Korra. Just why? Like, it would be great to see this new character talk to Korra, but then also talk to Aang and Roku again. Like, that would just be cool. And like,
right.
Why would they take that away? Anything that you're interested in seeing in this new Avatar show? This just the new Earthbender Avatar show.
Oh, I want to see what kind of Earthbender it is. I want to see, like, male, female. Will it follow Kyoshi's footsteps? Like, will it be will the new Avatar be female? Will it be male? Will it be like a strong male, strong female? Will they? I mean, also, like, what kind of world are we living in now? Right? Like, what kind of? It's gonna be set in modern day, and so
I think so.
Right. So I don't know how that's going to look. It's going to look, I hope, pretty interesting. I think any one of these shows made by Avatar Studios is definitely going to be better than anything that Netflix puts out there for us. So yeah, I'm looking forward to everything that Avatar Studios has coming along, and we'll get more into what other shows and movies will be put out.
Yeah, I really don't. I think that they're doing the modern day idea, which I don't like at all. I think part of the why we love Avatar is because of the world they've created.
Sure.
I don't want to see modern day Avatar: The Last Airbender, or not Avatar: The Last Airbender, but whatever this new Avatar series is. They could probably make it fun, but I think some of the, I would say, complaints. I guess some of the complaints in Korra is that some people don't like how modern it is. It makes sense. I mean, once you have metal benders running around and 100 years of war creates more technology, now they're all coming together with peace. So it's like, okay, like, it makes sense that that's where the world's going. Especially because there was really only one city that was like that in Korra for the most part. I just don't like the idea of too much like technology and I don't know, futuristic.
Like, there were automobiles, like full on automobile. I mean, you can make the case that like the Fire Nation had those like metal military cars, but like that was like a military thing. Like, it wasn't like an everyday, like, watch where you're crossing the street, there's a car coming. Like,
right. I mean, I guess Korra took place probably in our world's 1930s, 40s,
late 20s to
20s. Yeah. So like, that's what happens after the war. I feel like there's always a time, almost like a time jump, like evolution goes faster when it comes to like technology because in Avatar: The Last Airbender, things like tanks, it was easier for all the elements to come together and be like, well, how can we make this better and transport people, and so it just makes sense. Where I feel like The Last Airbender took place in the 1800s, 1700s of our world.
Yeah, who knows? But yeah,
I mean, which makes sense, like 60 years, 70 years later. So, so we'll see. We'll see how that works out. There's also going to be a Kyoshi. I couldn't really. Maybe you guys can help us out here, but I saw different sources saying different things. A movie or a show. I would like to see more of a show, just because Kyoshi did live so long.
I agree.
Do you have any particular time frame? I mean, we don't know too much about Kyoshi's life. She lived to be 300 years old or something, and we only know a few things. I definitely want to dig into the novels, but anything you want to see out of that?
I want to see Chin the Conqueror. That's who I want to see. I want to see like the conflict there instead of the Fire Nation being the bad guys. I want to see like conflict within her own element because she's an Earthbender. I want to see. It's kind of similar with Sozin and Roku, like conflict within their own element. Mm-hmm. So I want to see that with the Earth Kingdom and Kyoshi. I want to see like where she came, like where did she come from? I want to see the origins of Kyoshi. I'm just very curious.
I know a lot of that's in the book.
I know the comic books probably go into that.
She has books, like the actual like Kyoshi books, like the novels. Yeah. But I'm sure they might still show it live action. Yeah.
Right. I mean, like I said, like I just want them to feed me this information. I need it spoon fed to me. And so yeah, I mean, I like to see that. I like to see who her teachers are. I want to see who teaches her air. I want to was it like maybe the airbender who teaches her air was Monk Gyatso's teacher? Like, who knows?
So you want to see very much origin stuff. Like you want to see her learning the elements essentially,
and then the conflict with Chen.
We don't know where that is in her life though.
Exactly, but we never know. Like
flashbacks and stuff like that too.
Yeah, I'm because she lived so long. I am open to a wide array of options of where they go in the show. If I'd put in personal preference, I would put Chen first because like you got to have conflict and drama to keep the audience in, and then backstory with like her life and with the elements. That'd be like number 2. Maybe season 1, if it was a show, start with the origin, and then season 2 go to conflict.
Yeah, I mean, she lived long enough where I feel like you could have. I mean, you could have new villains if you wanted to, or you can show the Chen the Conqueror stuff a little bit more. You can expand that. I mean, we only know very little about that whole situation. I mean, we know how she beats him. So, I mean, maybe he dies.
Right.
I mean, we know that. We know he dies in that moment. So, yeah, I mean, personally, I would probably like to see something brand new. I do like the idea of like flashbacks of her learning different elements, maybe having her own team avatar. Seems like that's kind of the way they're going. I mean, she does in the novel,
her, though.
Yeah, but in the novel, she does.
Now, does she really?
Yeah, I believe so. But she could outlive them, right?
That doesn't fit Kyoshi's personality, in my opinion. I know, obviously, like comics refute that.
We don't know too much about Kyoshi, to be truly honest.
I'm just saying, but just based off her personality from the original show.
From the original show, I just feel like we don't really know too much about Kyoshi from the original show. If you don't talk about the novels, it's like she pops up for 8 seconds to say she killed Chen the Conqueror, and then at the end she tells Aang he has to kill the Fire Lord. Like,
right?
She can have friends.
She comes off as someone who's like more of a loner, and like a loner, strong, independent. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm trying to say. Like she just comes off as that person.
It would be interesting actually to see the friends that we meet in the novels and some flashbacks of those characters, but they're all dying. They're basically all old, or they all died already, and she's still alive because she did live so long. And the conflict, her own conflict of like, I'm alone now, and how maybe she changed and how she changes the world, and then a new conflict comes up. Maybe it's Chen, maybe it's not. That'd be really cool.
I mean, here's a question, and this is kind of related. So from my understanding, when the Avatar dies, obviously the next one's reborn into the next cycle. Mm-hmm. But there's a time frame, right, that there really isn't an Avatar until they're like told when they're 16, right? Like, you know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
I mean, it's the whoever's the next person born in the following nation, becomes the next avatar, and then hypothetically they don't tell them until they're 16, or at least that's how the monks did it in the year that Aang. We don't know about 300 years before Aang. We don't know about we have no idea how the Kyoshi was 2 avatars before Aang, so 100 years before Avatar: The Last Airbender, and then another 80 years before that, and then another 300 years. So Kyoshi lived 500 years before Aang was born. So we have no idea how they did it back then.
But do you know like the question?
But I guess your question is there is some time that passes where there's no avatar in the world. There hypothetically is. It's just no one knows who it is yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, maybe that's something they'll talk about. Another show. To jump to the next show that they're doing, or the next movie. I'm sorry. They're going to be doing a solo Zuko film.
Oh, that's gonna be so good.
That one I'm actually the most conflicted about because I love Zuko, but as you know, but his arc, why you love him, like that arc's over, and you love him as a side character foil to other characters,
right?
Kind of like in Marvel, like Loki, like they made Loki series and it ended up being okay. They were both okay, but like why we love Loki is because of his relationship with Thor and how he bounces off Thor. It's like Zuko without Aang, without the team, without his father, those characters might be in it, but like that whole all that already passed. So it'd be really interesting to see even what the story is about. So yeah, I'm conflicted about that. I mean, I'm sure Iroh will be in it, which would be great. Like to see Iroh in it.
The older Iroh.
Or maybe Iroh just passed away.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, older Iroh, older maybe Azula's in it. Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, I think. I mean, we'll see, but they kind of have to bring back Dante Bosco, in my personal opinion.
Oh yeah,
they really do, or a very strong voice alike.
There's no reason not to bring back Dante. I mean, unless he's like 100% just not about it. All these actors, like maybe not as
no,
much.
it's not about that. Maybe the creators or maybe I guess since it is the creators, yeah, he might.
It's the same creators, and it's like it's the same creators. They seem like they still have a relationship with a lot of the actors, like Braving the Elements, which Dante Bosco is a co-host on. They have been on multiple times, so it's not like it's like they go to Comic Cons, they go to different events with them. So it's not like, oh yeah, I haven't seen this guy in 20 years. Like they're still kind of, I feel like in the sense, have a relationship with them.
Right.
And it's like Dante Bosco can jump in a booth for, hours on 2 different occasions and shoot an entire movie, Zuko alone,
That's right.
Or not Zuko alone, but Zuko solo movie. Same with all these actors, to be honest. I mean, they all are kind of part of the community. So,
right.
Yeah, we'll see. And then
finding Zuko's mom.
Well, yeah, again, it really, I guess that's the running theme here, right? It's like, are they going to adapt things from the comics and novels, or are they going to have brand new stories?
Right.
Are they just going to do like The Search, but it's a Zuko standalone, and maybe they change elements to it, no pun intended, or maybe it's a copy. They just add stuff, which will be interesting. Last thing is the Aang Gang group.
Yes,
they're adults. Which again, going back to, are they going to bring back all the original cast? Aang can be different. That's fine. He's a 12-year-old kid. He's not going to be a 30-year-old man. All the other ones kind of had their selected voices. Like the voice actors did a good job at like standing out with their voices. Like they're very like you know. So, what kind of story would you like to see them do with that?
I mean, that I don't really know. It's the only thing that comes to mind, and then maybe this is just building off of Korra, but it just might be them, I don't know the time frame, but like them in Republic City, and like where you got
Building it.
just that time, just the time frame of, because this is like in their 30s, right?
Yeah, this is like 20. I would say this is probably 20 years after Avatar: The Last Airbender, and
Then
probably about 10 years before Icon.
yeah, well, I mean, here's the thing: wouldn't this be right as Yukon gets found?
So I'm saying I think he was in his 40s with Yukon. So this
Oh,
is about 10 years before Yukon.
okay. Then I think it's about maybe like just like developing Republic City. That's just my
Maybe
guess.
there's a villain. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's wide open, so that's fun stuff. Now Yukon could be in it still. Like
Right,
maybe they hear some rumbles about him.
or maybe because
Um,
we know Yukon already,
mhm.
and like maybe it'll be like, oh, who's this bloodbender who's like taking people away? We don't know, but let's investigate or something.
Yeah, like he could be like either a side character, like a side villain, that the crew doesn't know about, and he has his own like almost his own like mini story going on that ties in with the main story, or he could be the big bad behind it that the characters don't know about yet, or he could just be teased.
Like Law and Order, Avatar: The Last Airbender style.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things they could do. So definitely, and that would make sense if they want to have a Zuko story by himself. They can have an Aang crew by themselves without Zuko. Maybe he pops up because he's the Fire Lord. He's
Well,
not going to
and
be in.
Zuko alone.
Yeah, well,
That ties into the character development.
the Zuko alone, the Zuko story. You mean?
Yeah, as in
Yeah.
like it kind of goes full circle where like Zuko alone, and then Zuko gets his standalone
Right.
movie,
Right.
which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. It is. Like I said, it's the one I'm mainly nervous about.
Right.
So yeah, there's two shows that they have not confirmed um, what they're going to be about yet. So we'll do some predictions.
Mm.
So what is your first? We're going to do two each. Then we're going to do a couple small ones. So what is your first hopes for Avatar series?
So ever since season 3 ended with the biggest cliffhanger, in my opinion, in like TV show history, uh, um, I, I I want a season 4. I want a season 4 air. I want it to be, and I've thought about this a little bit. In general, I want the first half of the series to be about finding Zuko's mom, and then the next half to be about Aang like having like a revelation or like having the strong conviction of rebuilding the air nomads and the air temples, something along those lines.
But wouldn't you say that would be retconning what they already have with the comics?
Retconning in the sense of,
Or would they just like they already have a dozen stories after what happens when Aang beats the Fire Lord to the point where like they're now up to like Aang being
well,
like
just showed on the big screen.
16.
Not everyone reads comics. Like I said, a lot of people like
So
Scooby.
they would just redo it, but in a show.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think my thing is we talk about it all the time. Like Avatar's perfect. Is like they had a plan from beginning to end, and it all came together. Each season is a season that Aang learns a different element. The story about Avatar: Last Airbender is the story
right.
about Aang learning all three elements and taking on Fire Lord Ozai, and the prince that's destined to go chase down Aang is now joining him to help him defeat his father. And it's like I just feel like anything else, it's like taking a a class for college, and then you graduate, but for some reason you still have to go back and take like a English class during the summer, and you're like, I had to graduate. Like the story's already over. I already graduated. Why am I in this class? So it's like it wouldn't seem like a season 4. It would just seem like another spinoff.
That's what it would be, though. But like
Mm-hmm.
it fit in with like book 4 Air would be Air. Like, obviously, like, Aang mastered airbending already, would be Air because of the Air Temple rebuild, and I think that would make sense after finding Zuko's mom.
I always had like a fun little. I remember like from when I was a kid, I always had like an idea that like one of the temples had this like almost this rogue air bender that essentially was like, there's going to be a war coming. We have to prepare. Time to get the spears out. Time to be warriors. And they were not about it. They're monks. They don't kill. They don't do stuff. So they essentially lock them away in like a cave or something, like, you know,
Wow.
like a dungeon. Basically, they don't want to kill them, obviously. So they basically lock them away. And for the last 100 years or so, he's been living in the spirit world. And then Aang beats the Fire Lord. Something happens with maybe when he connects to the Lion Turtle. Something happens where he wakes up. He's able to get out. And the villain of season 4 would be an airbender. And that would be, that's why it would be called Air. So Avatar: Last Airbender would end with Aang realizing he's not the last airbender, but he has to defeat this last airbender.
You know what's really funny? Because it connects, I think. And I don't know if you read this. I don't know if we read the same thing or saw the same thing. So like this was like back in like I saw this like back in 2009 or 2010. There's this teaser, like a fan. It was a fan made thing that was on YouTube that I was watching. At first, I thought it was like inside information. I was a lot younger. I thought it was like, oh my gosh, they're making season 4, and I'm so excited. But
little John
with the teasers, I remember the teasers saying like it'd be like season 4 Air, like the gang, like it's, you know, it's peace and prosperity, blah blah blah. But they stumble upon this like tomb of a guy, and like they unearth him, and he becomes the villain, and like it's related to airbending. It's related to like he's not the last airbender.
I never even heard of that. Yeah,
and so like it was very interesting to have that, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is like a more sinister villain than like potentially like Ozai or something. But then like when I found out that it wasn't true, I was like, no.
Yeah, like if there was that air, you know, whatever that story would be, like this airbender would essentially be against what Aang's culture is, and so Aang would most likely by the end of it take away his bending.
Right.
But there would be just more of that conflict with Aang and how to deal with it and how to deal with this person. And maybe this person put together a team or whatever, you know?
Right.
So yeah, my jumping into one of my ideas, kind of playing with the same idea of that is I would love to see a Red Lotus prequel. How they got formed. We know a little bit from Zahir talking about it, but how they were formed, maybe see their first attempt at going after Korra. The theory is, I don't know if this is theory or just like real life, that like the reason why the White Lotus found Korra at the age of 5 when they went to find her, and she was like, I'm the Avatar, you have to deal with it. Like the reason why they went to go find her is because the Red Lotus was also trying to find her to kill her and end the Avatar cycle. So they wanted to find her first. And we already know that at that point, the White Lotus were probably anywhere from 15 to 20 years younger than when we see them in Avatar in Avatar Korra. So they're probably in their late teens. And they lost to Korra's father, Sokka, Zuko, and a younger Tenzin. And that would be cool to see that fight. The theory is Sokka dies during that small little battle, which they could maybe explore these characters a little bit more. Obviously, the fight that they lose and go to jail would be the end. I just want to follow them in jail. But yeah, so that would be in my opinion, a really interesting thing.
My question for you, and because I just don't know, did the Red Lotus form during Aang's time, like during the 100-Year War, or was it like after that whole fiasco?
What Zahir says, I forgot the character's name. He named somebody, some random person. He said basically he was a member of the White Lotus, and essentially didn't like the idea that they were just going to be the Avatar's bodyguards. And so went away from that, because the White Lotus has always been more of like a freedom fighter type of thing. Like
maintaining the peace, like
maintaining the peace. We don't serve a government. We don't believe in leaders. And then he went off, and then I think, I might be lying here, but I think he died from that fight.
Who did?
Whoever that guy was from the Red Lotus. Also, again, don't remember his name. Don't want to remember his name. The villain from season 2, horrible season 2. I think it was Torlock or something. Unalak. Tarlok was season 1 though. I think it was Unalak.
Is that the brother?
Brother. He was their leader essentially, and then his mentality of the spirits got in his way, and then they kind of went away from him. So yeah, just the show to kind of tighten all that up and show how it really went down. It doesn't have to be a 4-season show. It could be a 6-episode event, whatever, but that would be really cool.
I don't disagree. That's a good idea.
Yeah. And by the way, he wouldn't be a bender. So, leading to your next idea for what you think a show could be.
I would like to see a show that is a prequel to Avatar: The Last Airbender. I want to see the main protagonist be a non-bender in the world of Avatar during the 100-Year War before Aang arrives, like between when Roku dies and like when Aang arrives from the iceberg.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to see the Fire Nation, how they obviously, like, we know how they treat people, but like I want to see like a freedom fighting show, like kind of like Jet in a way.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see like a non-bender. Don't know what kind of specialty this person will have, but
it's like a badass.
He or she will get a ragtag team and like go through the Fire Nation rule together and disrupt them at some point.
Maybe like 40 years before.
Yeah, just being disruptors, or just like being disruptors, but also showing how cruel the Fire Nation during that time was. Mm-hmm. Like actually, like don't go into more detail about that rather than like just by words.
Well, yeah,
that Avatar illustrated.
Yeah, it'd be cool to either see like this ragtag team maybe like 40 years before Aang was found, or like a year and you see like an angry boy Zuko, and he's like in an episode, and you're like, that's Zuko a year before he finds Aang.
Right.
That would be kind of cool too. Or like again a character like June popping up in an episode, or something like that. That'd be cool. Yeah, I mean, my final one, which will kind of evolve into more stuff, but I think it's like time we were to see Uncle Iroh series. I think everyone wants it. And again, not 4 seasons. Give us like an 8-episode, 6-episode event from episode 1 ending with his son dying in Ba Sing Se. And then what happens? How does he go into the spirit world? How does he meet the dragons and learn the meaning of firebending? What other adventures did he go on? and we can kind of see the evolution of how he became. He was always kind of a jolly guy, and maybe was a little bit obviously nicer and more peaceful than his brother. But how did he become the Iroh we met in Avatar: Last Airbender?
Yeah.
And maybe how did he meet the White Lotus? All that would be really interesting.
And maybe Ozai and Iroh's relationship. Like, we never saw it.
We never saw them together. Yeah.
No. I want to see, like, obviously there were significant age difference, but like, still, like, I'd like to see if like Ozai looked up to Iroh, like, was that the big brother complex kind of thing? Did they really not talk or speak or have a relationship? Like, at least just say something about it,
Yeah, explore. That would be cool. That would be nice to explore more of. We don't really know too much about Iroh's wife,
right?
Or did she even have a wife? He even have a wife.
It's Iroh.
It's Iroh, man.
Remember, he's a cutie.
Duh. Yeah, that's it. That all that stuff to explore with Iroh would be really interesting. So some other I like the idea in Avatar: Last Airbender because it's such a great world with a lot of characters to have like quick 6-episode series about certain characters.
Right.
So we have a couple written down that we could just maybe bounce ideas off of what would be just a fun story to watch. It could be 4 episodes, 6 episodes, 8 episodes, whatever, mini movie. So, I mean, that Iroh could be definitely one of those. One we wrote down was Tylee and May having their own spinoff.
Yeah.
I don't know how they would do that personally.
It's kind of hard. That one's hard just because like they're leading separate lives kind of now, but at the same time, like they can still keep the best friendship during that time. It's just how will they get an adventure?
You will be really interesting to see is that something happens that ties them back and together, and they're like the only one that we can get to help us do this. Kind of like The Search. The only one we can help get to do this is Azula. Maybe they don't let her go, but maybe they have to visit her, whatever. Like in The Search, she knows where Zuko's mom is, so they have to kind of essentially have her join Team Avatar for a little bit to essentially help find the mother. And she has different motives, but
how does Azula know?
From her father. There's a whole backstory to it. There's a whole thing going on. There's that The Search. It's kind of a wild show to be on, or a comic to be honest. There's a whole like backstory of like Zuko might not actually be the blood to the throne. It might be like there's a bunch of, and then it ends up not being real, but it's just a way Azula can. It leads to basically more people rising up to join, to be more on Ozai's side, which leads to more conflict in other comics and stuff like that.
We'll get into that later.
That's other stuff.
Yeah.
A really cool 6-episode series would be June.
I totally agree.
The bounty, it's just called June the Bounty Hunter, and it's just like her being a badass for a couple episodes. Other sheer shoes, we don't see any others. That'd be really cool to see more of those animals. Just a show about her bounty hunting.
Well, can I just say, and I obviously agree, but I was just thinking, I think if Avatar Studios even made a Bato spinoff, that it would even be better than that live action Netflix that we got.
Yeah, I mean, these are characters that are already well written.
No, like Bato was just like at a perfume distillery for like who knows how long.
They just kind of like
that has more action, even though there's none there. That had more than the Netflix live action. Just me dissing more Netflix live action. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Jet spin. I mean, we talk about Jet spinoff, yes. Which would be kind of similar to the non-bending show you were referring to earlier. just a show about the freedom fighters, maybe 6 months before they meet Aang. How do they all meet? How do they all meet? I mean, are they all just orphans from that town that was raided by Fire Nation, or I mean, he kind of explains like what each one of them, like we found the Duke trying to steal from us, like he kind of sort of explains it.
Maybe the non-bender can be like Jet's mom or dad.
In the show.
Know that in the show, like before Aang arrives,
and then you just like see him brutally get murdered by
because it's like then like as a watcher you're like it's in his blood that he's a freedom fighter. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Jet's a little child that you see in the show, and then you just at the end you just see Jet watching his like the two main characters of the show get brutally murdered. Zhang show. I'm in the military.
Totally down.
I don't know what else to say. Wouldn't it be interesting to see a Zhang show and then like him training a young Zhao?
I mean, I would like again. I'd be down. There's ideas here.
It's so funny when we talk about Avatar: The Last Airbender. Like you just kind of forget about Zhao as a character.
I don't. I
do all the time.
I don't.
Like there's a lot of season 1 stuff going on right now because of the live action show and stuff. But like, like when I think of Avatar, I think of season 2 and season 3. I barely think about a lot of the stuff in season 1. And sometimes I just completely forget about him. I'm like, oh, well,
here's the thing. I'll be honest, and this is gonna sound maybe contrary. I think more about seasons 1 and 2 than season 3, just because I watched them in order, right? Mm-hmm. So like season 1, like I was like that's when I got into it, so like I remember it, and like there's more nostalgia there. Where season 3, I said this probably the first few episodes where like I did not know when season 3 came out because there was no advertising about it. I'm sure there was.
I remember there was. I remember it was a whole week, and it was called the Countdown to the Comet, and it was
that was the Sozin's Comet thing. I remember that. I'm talking about like season 3. When did it pick up? Like season 3, episode 1.
Yeah,
like I don't remember commercials or advertising about it because I was like, I watch TV. Like, where is this stuff? And so like it was halfway through season 3, and then that's when Sozin's Comet, the Countdown of Sozin's Comet was coming on. I was like, when did season 3 come out? Yeah, like it was weird. It was a weird time.
It was the same thing for me with Korra. I remember going to college, and I was like walking down the steps, and I like talking to people about Avatar, and they're like, "Yeah, man, I love this Korra show so far." I'm like, "What?" And it was like when episode's like 5, I was like, "Oh my gosh!" I was like, "What am I missed it."
I remember commercials for Korra.
Yeah, I mean, I was out of that. I mean, I was like, I wasn't watching Nickelodeon when I was 20 or whatever how old I was. I wasn't really watching it, so I didn't know about the series.
Right.
Yeah, so going back to any spin-offs for Korra characters while we're talking about it. Like, do we get a Sami